Becky from PowerToolsWithThread.com. That's my blog. Are you guys ready to get stitching on that table runner? So if you are new to my channel, welcome. Man, I've had a lot of subscribers. You guys are awesome. I'm so glad to be able to share this with you. It's a lot of fun. We are in the middle of a project. Well, not really the middle, just the beginning of a project where the magazine company Designs and Machine Embroidery. This was the May-June issue, and in here was a beautiful Seashell Trapunto table runner. It had free embroidery design files, and I asked the editor of Designs and Machine Embroidery if I could share this free project with my subscribers. And she was very sweet. She said, absolutely, just wait till July after this magazine has, this issue has run its course. So I gave everybody some homework of what needed to be done, such as take your machine out of the box and read your manual and try to get familiar with it. So the very first episode, or the first version of this video series, was getting to know your machine. Now, it's impossible for me to tell everybody how their machine works because I don't know. I've only worked on a Brother and a Baby Lock embroidery machines. Those are the same because they are, I think they're made in the same manufacturing plant. The buttons are the same, the brain is the same. So for those of you with a different brand of embroidery machine, you need to get your manual and kind of figure out what it is that we're doing. But you are welcome to join along with us. So there were some issues, and so if you want to join along with us, to get the instructions, you go to my blog, PowerToolsWithThread.com. Go to my blog, and there are two download links right there. The first download link, well, there's two links. The first one is a download link where you can get the instructions, okay? And there are some edits on the instructions. You can see it's kind of handwritten on the side. I scanned in the edits and put the new version of these on there. And then the second link will take you to the Amelie Scott website where you can get the free embroidery design files, okay? So I mentioned some edits, and I'm going to add this right here now. One of you, Eagle Eye, very good. If you've gotten all the way through this thing already, because we're going to do Embroidery 101, okay? But some of you are already, your old hands at this, and you know what you're doing. Stitching Custom Quilting section on page 19, right here. It says, make a quilt sandwich, lay the backing fabric right side up on a table and place the batting on top. That is incorrect. If we were doing a flip and turn method as far as finishing, that would be right. But if you're going to use a binding method to finish it, you need to put the pretty side of the fabric face down, okay? So that's just probably, I don't know how this thing was originally supposed to be designed to do, but you should, if you're going to follow the directions like this and you want to do a binding on it as opposed to a turn and flip method, you need to put the backing fabric face down, just like a regular quilt sandwich, okay? So, again, you can go to I'll put the link to my blog right below here, okay, in the description box, and then you can go to my blog and you can get the design file, the instructions, and then you can link over to the free design files where you can download them. So I made one of these last night. Here it is. Whoop, floppy. I think it turned out pretty cute. This is one of the shells. So when a embroidery machine is doing its thing and it goes from one section to the next and then to the next, in between those sections, it's going to make a big jump, and it may or may not cut the thread. That big thread is called a jump thread, and some machines will automatically cut the jump thread, like mine does, if the digitizer put a jump cut in there, okay? that not every section will have that. Some of them will still do jump threads. When we get to that part, I'll tell you where that is, so you know to go in there with your little snips and cut those jump threads. You want to do that because you do not want to see the jump thread behind some other stitching that may or may not have covered it completely. So, okay, so I wanted to be sure to mention jump threads to you guys. So the homework part 1 was to get your machine out, get the manual out, and then I put the instructions out there, so I am all ready. Now, the instructions here for materials, they say Floriani Wet and Gone or OESD Aqua Mesh Water Soluble Stabilizer. I didn't have any of that. I had Solvay Light, okay? It seemed to work fine. Any of those little ripples you see in there, when we do the Trapunto stitching, I bet you they go away. I did not have a problem with this, okay? So I'm using Solvay Light. Do what the instructions tell you, but if you don't have it, you might try something else. I just thought I'd give it a shot. To me, it worked fine on my machine. So, no promises on yours, all right? So, you should have 6 pieces of batting. You need 6 pieces of background fabric that have been backed in Pelon Shape Flex. I got this at Walmart. It's a 2-yard thing for, I think I paid $6 for it. I would recommend that you cut out the 1/4 yard of background fabric that you're going to use. Put the Pelon Shape Flex on it in one big piece and iron it on there. That's what I should have done. I didn't do, but I should have done. Then cut your 6 squares one time. Makes it a lot easier in my book. I don't like lining up this square and that square and those 4 and, you know, getting gunk on my iron. Ugh, I hate that. That's me. Okay, I am using a Free Spirit. I have a Free Spirit fat quarter bundle of pastels because I have no imagination, so I'm going to make mine look exactly like the picture. And what else? I think that's it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to stitch a shell shape onto the white background fabric and see how it comes out. So let's go over to the machine. Oh, one other thing. If you're not sure about how to get the design files from the internet to your machine, look in the list of my videos on my channel, and I have a video called Managing Embroidery Design Files from the Internet to Your Laptop or to your machine or something like that. And I go step by step by step how to do that, okay? So I'm not going to go over that here because I already did that. So also, oh, we have to hoop. The first thing we have to do is hoop. So this is what water-soluble stabilizer looks like. It says it's light, but it's pretty stuff. Works pretty good. I want to show you guys something really cool. So I just got, this is called a hoop mat from Designs and Machine Embroidery. It's a silicone, but it's not slippery like the kind that you get that goes in the bottom of your oven. This thing feels like, you know those Playtex leather gloves, oh not leather, Playtex gloves that you wash dishes with, remember? The living glove with your hand. It feels like that, only a little bit thicker, very heavy. It's already got a big crisscross on it. And so far, I really like this. So if I was to hoop the deal, oh, also, this project is for larger than a 5x7 hoop. If you only have a 5x7 or a 4x4, I'm sorry, we can't play. But you can watch and learn, okay? So you would put your stabilizer here, and then when I go to put my hoop in, look, and I'm not trying to, but it's already, the hoop moves around. I mean, it went in there just fine. Imagine if I was trying to exactly hoop a garment or something, and this shifts. I mean, I'm barely touching it, y'all. Look. Well, watch this. Check this out. How long do you think it's going to be before I run through it with a rotary cutter? Let's do this again. So the idea is that you put this, you know, your little 4 points, line those up just right, okay? Whatever it is you're going to hoop, put it in there. First of all, look at this. It does not move. It does not move. This is awesome. They have it on the Designs and Machine Embroidery website. I think it's DZGNS shop. Okay, look at that. It just went right in there, and that hoop does not move. It's like it has glue on the bottom, but it doesn't. It's amazing. This is incredible. Now, another thing that's incredible, I'm not going to use this hoop. I am going to use, because that's an aftermarket hoop and my machine thinks it's too small. It's not, but it thinks it is. So I'm going to use my Magna hoop, and because it likes this one. I picked this up at Nancy's Notions up in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin at the store. My Aunt June took me. So I'll put this here, pull it tight. Whoa! Watch your fingers. Right? I need to find, I have a screwdriver up here. Here it is. I did that teal one last night using, it was kind of just like this, and it turned out just fine. But I'm going to straighten this up just a little bit. I really like this, you guys. This is very handy if you are going to do the, when you go to hoop the quilt sandwich itself to do the Trapunto stitching. All right, guys. Sounds good. I think I'm ready. So let's go to the machine. Okay, so today I'm going to do the purple one. I'm only going to do one of these a night, so it's going to be another week or so before I get to the final. I'm doing my light lavender one. And now you need to pick several colors of thread. I am using Madeira thread. It works okay. I have the Madeira Poly Neon, and I've had it for years. It works fine. You can use Floriani, of course. You can use whatever you want. I mean, whatever embroidery thread you want. And you need 2 shades of a complementary color and a white, so you can stitch the background fabric onto the hoop. And then you need another color. This, I'm going to use pink for the concentric arcs on the shell itself. So on mine, so I have 2 spools on my machine. It takes 2 spools, and then I have a thread tree back here that I use when I have more than 2 spools. I've had this thing for years and I absolutely love it. I will link to one down below. When you're doing multiple colors on an embroidery design, it is so handy. I pull the thread up through these things. They're numbered 1 through 10 on mine. I can't find this one anymore, but I have found a 20 spool one. Very handy, especially when you're doing those big designs that have 16 colors in them. And it has a little spring doobie up here on the top. And that's where I put the thread tails, and that just keeps everything out of the way. So you want to get your handy dandy little snips. You want some snips. I will link to these. They have a little curved bottom, but this helps you get things clipped like your jump threads. You'll want that. You're going to want some curved scissors. These have a nice curve to them so you can get into the hoop in order to trim off the applique fabric. And you are going to want to not drop your expensive scissors. You're going to want some duck build scissors for when it's all said and done and we need to cut the backing off, okay? You're also going to want a flat surface when you have to pull your hoop off. and you're going to want to put it on your lap or on a table and cut. Never, 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 ever cut applique fabric when it's not on a flat surface. Your odds of unhooping your project are pretty high. That is a safety, okay? So don't be doing that. I'm just telling you. All right, so let's get started. I have a square of background fabric that has got the shape flex on the back. I have a piece of batting that's got threads all over it. I was going to show you, on my thread, and I have my my applique fabric, of course. When I do my put thread on my machine, I always use a spool cap, and I have a tiny little piece of batting that I put a hole in, and I put it here, and then tightly put the spool cap on there. That keeps, I give it a good squeeze, that keeps the thread from getting tangled up down underneath the spool. That will happen, okay? Now, when you first turn on your machine, let me zoom you in here. All right, when you first turn on the machine, if you have a sewing and embroidery combo machine like I do, probably the first thing is sewing. If it is a sewing and an embroidery combo, then it threads identical regardless of which way you're doing it, whether it was a sewing machine or an embroidery machine. So this one even threads identical to, let me get my thread out of there from last night. This one even threads identical to the Brother PC 420 I have down the way, and that's the same one Viv Mom has. So I have sewing, come back, a pretty girl. Sewing, embroidery, embroidery edit, and Disney. I always use embroidery. I have put my USB stick in here already, and the universal symbol for USB is that little Triton right there. And it says transmitting. What do you mean not loaded? Here. That's okay. Stuff happens. Not a big deal. It was loaded last night. There. There it goes. It blinked. It needed that. Okay. So the first color we need are the color of your background fabric. And in this case, mine is white. So I'm going to load my hoop. When you load your hoop, so when you first start your embroidery machine, it's going to reset and move things around and get, where it needs to go and center itself. That's fine. Let it do that. Put my hoop in, push my little lock down. Some of them have a clamp. I'm going to take my white thread from up here. Get this. Okay. There's a little guide up here to make a bobbin, and I always put mine on there. Now to thread my machine, can you see? There we go. To thread my machine, they're all numbered. All machines should have a numbering system, and if you're not sure how to do it, look in your manual. So it goes up around number 1, comes down around number 2. I like to do a little floss right here, so I make sure that the thread is in those tension discs and follow the numbers around. And then the entire price of this machine is worth this little thing right here, which is the automatic needle threader. I'm starting with a new bobbin, okay, which is the same color as my background fabric, and I am, which doesn't really matter yet. It matters at the end. When you're putting on your backing, it doesn't matter here. And I am using a size 75/11. They're called Schmetz Embroidery Gold Needles. Don't know why they call them gold, because they are titanium. Love these needles, okay? All right, so we are loaded. Now, you want to find the design, and the design you're looking for is the one that looks like the shell. Not the outline of the shell with all the little squiggles around it, but the one that looks like the shell. Okay, so I'm going to use my little pointer here. I've got a couple of designs on here. This is the design with the shell. Let's see if I can get even closer. Yep. This is the design with the shell, and this is the design that is the outline Trapunto effect. We want the one with the shell, and you're going to touch it. Okay, let me back out. So there's the shell. That's what we're going to do. It tells me that it's 8.5 by 6.5, and it says that I need the hoop that I have in here is the large hoop, and that's fine. The next thing I need to do is press the sewing button. Why doesn't it say embroidery? I don't know, but we're going to hit sewing. It tells me there's 6,144 stitches. It's going to take 14 minutes, and there are 8 thread changes. Now, there are colors listed here. You don't worry about those. You have already picked your colors. The color change, what that does is it tells the digitizer has told the machine to stop and wait for you to do something, okay? So, change color thread, obviously, but that's what that is. So don't worry about the actual thread colors themselves. You just need to worry about the fact that you have thread that matches your project, okay? Turn this just a little bit so you can see a little better. I think we're ready to get started. So I'm going to, on this machine, see how the light is red? Okay, these buttons are identical to the sewing machine. You've got your needle threader, presser foot down, your scissors, needle up, down, reverse, and go. Okay, so we're just gonna, it's red because the presser foot is up. The presser foot needs to be down. That tells it to do its thing. The first thing this is going to do is it's going to stitch a placement line for the background fabric. So here we go. Okay, so now you need to put your fabric down, the background fabric down. Make sure you got the fabric side up and the shape flex down. It's kind of easy. I made the shape flex just a hair bigger. Now, that way I know that the bigger piece goes on the bottom. Now, you might have seen, I've got, this is duck craft tape. It's like painter's tape, only better. To me, I think it's got a better stick. You want to put this up way up here in the corner because we're fixing to tack down the background fabric, and you don't want to stitch the painter's tape, craft tape, to your into the you don't want to stitch into the tape. All right, one more time. Oh, see how it's red again? Got to press it, got to put the presser foot down, and then go. Uh-oh, I taped the end of the fabric. Okay, all that was a basting stitch. If it got a little loose or something there, like I got some loose stitches down here at the bottom, don't worry about it. We're going to take them out anyway, okay? So now what you want to do is we're going to make a placement stitch around, back out a little bit more. We're going to make a placement stitch of where to put the fabric for our applique. So what you need to do is the same color thread that will be the final satin stitch for that. So I like to cut my thread kind of in the middle here, And then, because I'm lazy and don't want to rethread again, I'm just going to put them together, two together, and tie a single little knot. Never pull your thread backwards through your machine. And then I'm just going to pull. I heard it just go through the tension discs, that little knot. There we go. And we're ready. Put my foot down. Oh, sorry. Forgot to thread the needle. There we go. Now I got a little bit of a snag right there. Last night when I did it, I got kind of a big loop and I trimmed it off. This tiny little snag, I'm not even going to worry about it because it will be covered by the final satin stitching, okay? So now I'm going to put down my applique. I cut my square a little big. That's okay. Not a big deal. And I'm going to put some more tape to hold it down so it doesn't, whoop, see, doesn't go anywhere. And I put my fingers in the sewing field, and you guys should never do that. Also, I highly recommend when you embroider, you wear a pair of glasses of some sort so that if the needle breaks and the tip of the needle manages to fly, it's not going to hit you in the eye. Okay, we're ready to go. I'm going to put my foot down and go. Okay, now it has come time to remove the hoop from the machine, and we want to cut around and get the applique fabric off. So I'm going to get this is a June Taylor Quilter's cut and press. It's a little ironing board on one side and a little, like a cutting mat on the other. It's got scratches all over it. You can tell I use it all the time. And let me aim down. When you go to take your hoop out of your machine, you want to put your hand right here on the arm so that the arm doesn't go anywhere. Pull your hoop out. Okay. Can you see what I'm doing? Now, you guys, when you get your scissors, don't get cheap scissors because they'll hurt your fingers. Here's where you want to use your curved scissors to get in here, and we're going to go around, okay? And you just do it real close to the stitching. If it's not exactly perfect and there's a little bit on the outside, don't worry about it. It will be covered with the final satin stitching. You want to get into those corners as close as you can, and you're not going to cut the threads. These scissors are amazing. I believe I think they're Gingers. I'll link to all these products that I am using in the description box below. And you see something you like. This is an investment, you guys, just like your machine was. Once you get a pair of these, you're not going to buy another unless you've got two places where you do embroidery. But I have a pair here and I have a pair at the coast. I don't embroider travel very much. So, can you guys see what I'm doing? Oh. I screwed that up totally.